What is going on, everybody? Welcome in to Lineman Life Live. I'm here observing Lineman Uche Nwaneri. Justin is having some technical difficulties setting up with the Wi-Fi, the place that he's at. So we will see if he'll be able to make it in. If not, you're going to have me today. It's okay. Got a lot that I want to talk about. I know I got some geeks in the audience. So what do you guys think about the Kenobi series? What did y'all think about Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Disney Plus series? I kind of want to know because I thought the finale was pretty freaking awesome. But overall, I felt like the series itself not exactly what I wanted. Didn't live up to exactly what I wanted. And I know that, we got some sports stuff to talk about, but this is like, this is a huge deal for a guy like me. For a nerd like myself, I like to, at times kind of talk to you guys about, those interests. So sometimes I will sidebar and go into talking about some geek stuff for a minute. Now, Star Wars is a complicated media property for many reasons. Disney obviously taking over it and doing what they do to Disneyfy and kind of takes away from it. It limits the storytelling. It limits it. I wanted a much darker Kenobi. I wanted a much more how do you say? I wanted a more of a deconstruction of Obi-Wan post Revenge of the Sith. I wanted to see more in way of the trauma that he suffered from having to, at the time, from what he thought, kill his Padawan, or his Padawan, his apprentice, his best friend, his brother, his family. And when you have to go through a traumatic experience like that, I wanted to see kind of the intimate, pain that he was dealing with. But then on the other side, I wanted to see the same thing from Vader, because I felt like this story of Kenobi, this series should have focused squarely on Kenobi and on Vader. You have Kenobi and his struggle, you have Vader and his struggle, and you get philosophical with it to a certain extent, because they're both individuals who are polar opposites, even though they're put in the same situations. These guys are not the same kind of people. And Vader went through a lot in the books, in the EU. And the EU's not necessarily canon anymore, but even in the Vader, for me, the Vader comics have been like the best thing that Disney has done with Star Wars. If you hate everything about Star Wars and Disney, do yourself a favor and go and watch. Oh, here he is. Do yourself a favor and go and read the Vader comics, because they give you so much.
Oh man,
so much lore into the psyche of Vader through those years in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. And it's like, that's what I was hoping they would do with the Kenobi show. They started to do that. But then, they veered away from it. But I loved what the last episode brought. I loved a lot of things, a lot of elements within the series, but overall underwhelming. I was expecting to give the series like a 9 out of 10 when I'm really, the last episode brought it from a 6 to a 7.5, because the last episode did a lot of heavy lifting. Anyways, we got Justin Blaylock back in here, got his little situation figured out, and now we can some get into some sports stuff now. Yeah, so
let's get it.
Yes, what's up?
No, I'm good to go. Let's go.
Oh, got you. So let's
hear me?
Jump into this thing, folks. Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead and jump into this thing. obviously, first and foremost, we have to talk about what is happening with the Baltimore Ravens. This is tragic, obviously, because you have a person like Jalen Ferguson, 26 years old, young man who passed away tragically today. Outside linebacker / DN for the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, condolences to his family, to the Baltimore Ravens organization. Here's the statement here from the Ravens. It says, "We are profoundly saddened by the tragic passing of Jalen Ferguson. He was a kind, respectful young man with a big smile and an infectious personality. We express our heartfelt condolences to Jalen's family and friends as we mourn a life lost much too soon." And I mean, to kind of even go, to give it even a double sting, in the same day, you also lose a legend for the Baltimore Ravens. Tony Siragusa, the Goose. This guy was, he was unmistakable. This was like I feel like he was the first big zero nose technique defensive tackle. He was the first. I feel like he was the first one. I don't know if there were any before him. I know you had the Fridge, but the Bears didn't. They ran a 4-3, so it wasn't a 3-4 like this Ravens
defense.
That's what I said.
No one was out there doing.
Yeah, nobody was doing 3-4s. Nobody was doing 3-4s back then, and Tony Siragusa was, the guy was just a big
larger than life.
Like he was literally larger than life.
Big smile, big body.
Even off the field after his career ended and he became a commentator. I remember the first time he commentated on Fox NFL Sunday, and this cat was in a mink coat. I was like, okay, I see you styling on him. Tony Siragusa passed away today as well. Here's a statement from the Ravens. I'll read through the statement real quick. It says, "Renee and I are stunned and heartbroken to learn about the sudden passing of Tony Siragusa. He was a special person and clearly one of the most popular players in Ravens history." Very true. Very true. Tony's larger-than-life personality made an enormous impact on our organization and throughout the Baltimore community. On the field, Goose was a difference maker who contributed immensely to the success of many great Ravens defenses, including the record-setting 2000 Super Bowl team. Our deepest prayers and sympathies go out to Kathy, their 3 children, and the rest of the Siragusa family. This is a tremendously sad day for the Baltimore Ravens. We appreciate everyone who has expressed an outpouring of support for our players, coaches, and staff. And that last paragraph, this is, they even acknowledge it themselves that this is not, this ain't normal. This happened to one legendary and one well-known player pass away in the same day, same organization, and really in a time when, damn, dude, how many of us are passing away? There's a lot of players,
young cats too.
A lot of young cats dying. Just, I don't remember it being like this. Even when we were in the league, I remember our rookie year when they were talking about Sean Taylor.
I think maybe. I think it was a rookie year, maybe our senior year.
Rookie or second year.
It was early on though.
It was early in our careers. I remember that was like the major one. That was like the major one, and you didn't really have like these. You didn't have like these famous like still playing names just fall off like this.
Well, if you remember from our class, actually, Gaines Adams.
Gaines Adams, yeah. The defensive end, Tampa Bay, right?
Yeah. I think he had like a congenital.
He had an enlarged
heart disease or something.
Something happened, yeah.
But it seems like every few months we're hearing about it now.
Yeah, and now we're hearing about guys like, Demaryius Thomas. Come on. That's a guy who was, I mean, he's literally just retired a few years ago, and he's gone. Marion Barber, he's gone. I mean, Marion Barber's gone. Vincent Jackson's gone. I mean, damn.
Guys that should be like in the prime of their, lives. Obviously,
Yeah,
not
these
like
guys who
not
should be in
necessarily
their
football
prime.
lives, but as a human being,
yeah,
well,
not
well
even
under
like
your shelf life.
Young guys, healthy guys, like and if nothing else, it makes you just kind of contemplate your own mortality because you're like, man, I'm 38, and I'm like, I'm not trying to go nowhere no time soon. Let me just say that. You know what I mean?
I hear you. But
you know what I mean?
Tomorrow's not
stick
promised.
Around.
Man. It is not
I'm
promised.
trying to stick around. But definitely some tragic news for the Ravens. And, again, I mean, it's whenever one football player passes, we're a fraternity. So we all kind of feel that reverberate around the players, past and present. It's life, I guess, but at the same time, you hate to just repeatedly have to be faced with these kind of things. Even Goose was only 55, man. It's not
right.
like he wasn't old. He wasn't really old. Like,
yeah, by no stretch of the imagination was he an old man.
Yeah, he was 55. Like, come on, man. Like, inherently, maybe, because we're so big and we play sports, we're bound to have, more stress on our body as we get older. But I mean, this cat was a different kind of big than us even. So it's like,
yeah, that's a big man.
So yeah, sure. you gotta think about it from a lot of different.
If I'm not mistaken, he lost his father to a heart attack. I believe.
Oh, okay. So it
big
runs in the family.
With similar issues.
And that's
history, I should say.
And that's wild because that's a lot of people. Like you wouldn't realize how many people actually will have heart problems as they get older. Even people who are just regular size.
Right.
It's I think it has a lot to do with the food we eat and
I mean the way you train,
the lack of training that we have as a society. People don't work out like we're not necessarily normal in that we worked out most of our life every single day, all the time for hours. There are a lot of people who do work out, true enough, but there are a lot more who don't. And it's one thing, and I always felt like, hey, if you're working out and you're like, the way we trained as athletes, dude, like you can eat whatever you want because it's just going to burn away in like 48 hours. It'll be gone. You'll burn it all up. One practice in training camp, you burn all that out. That's all going to be gone. So, but again, condolences to the Ravens organization as a whole for the losses that they are facing right now. Of course, we hope that the families will be able to work through the grieving process and find some strength to move forward. But it's a long road because it's just happening today. So wishing them all the best, hoping that things begin to heal soon enough. But I think our main story, our main topic to talk on tonight is going to be the situation with the NFL and Congress, because it was part shit show, and you'll see why in a moment. It was, for a large part, this was a congressional meeting to basically discuss the Washington Commanders and what the fuck is going on with how they're dealing with these new allegations that continue to come up about Dan Snyder. Dan Snyder, the fucking habitual cheapskate owner of the Washington Commanders, has done nothing but mismanage and dismantle a once proud franchise. It is now fighting for any bit of relevancy that it can get. And even when they do get a bit of relevancy, he himself sabotages it and they lose all relevancy because of him, because he, the owner. I mean, hey, look, Jaguars had Shad Khan. He made some bad hiring decisions, but he ain't like tearing down the franchise by, from the bricks and the foundation with people accusing him of shit all the time with the IRS looking at him. They're saying that he stole some money now. You know what I mean? So let's look at this. We got some videos here that we're going to look at and we're going to react to. I think that everybody can appreciate a good video of some adults completely humiliating themselves.
Oh yes, I can't wait to see this train wreck.
But I just want to start with this video here because I think that this politician personally is a fucking joke of a human being. But it's never ceases to amaze me how this particular politician, Jim Jordan, will just, out of nowhere, he will just begin to, I can't even explain it. You know what? Let's just watch the video. Here we go.
Okay, the gentleman from Ohio, Mr. Jordan, is now recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner, you believe in the First Amendment, don't you?
No.
No, I don't. Actually, I don't believe in it.
Never heard of it.
Now, if you look at the title here, it says NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell grilled over coach's $100,000 fine for January 6 comments. Now, you know who he's talking about because he's a friend of the show. He's been on the show. Jack Del Rio, defensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders. We're here to talk about allegations of sexual misconduct, embezzlement/fraud.
Yeah.
And this is what you're going to bring up to talk about, you dumbass? Come on. But let's listen to it. I've not heard it, so I'm ready to laugh. As soon as I heard his voice when I was doing my research, I just paused it and said, you know what? I'm going to save this one. We're going to save this.
This is going to be good.
This is going to be good. We're going to save this one.
I do.
All parts of it, all rights we have. Your right to practice your faith, your right to petition the government, right to assemble, freedom.
Look at Goodell. He's like Jesus Christ. Is this what they walked me into?
Press, freedom of speech. You believe in all that.
Yes, Congressman.
Why do you ban Dave Portnoy from NFL games?
Pardon me, I couldn't hear your question.
Why do you ban Dave Portnoy from NFL games?
Dog.
Really?
That's what we're kind of.
Dan Portnoy, the owner of Barstool Sports, is banned from the NFL. He's banned from having media credentials from the NFL. The NFL is a private entity. They pay taxes. They don't have to let you in they shit if they don't want to.
Right.
Why are you even asking this?
If you make shirts that say the commissioner's a clown.
And look, I got no love for Roger Goodell. Don't get it too. I got no love for him. Nobody. There ain't a player who got love for him. I can tell you that.
Damn
but
right.
This is this is kind of a stretch here.
He's a journalist. In fact, he's a sports journalist. Why is he banned?
Congressman, I'm not familiar with that issue. I'm happy to check with my staff, but I'm not aware of that. Yes.
Well, I think we're all aware of that. We're all aware of that. He interviewed the President of the United States, interviewed President Trump in the White House. It seems to me if you can get into the White House, you should be able to get into a football game, particularly as a member of the press and a member of the sports press. You don't know anything about that?
I don't, sir.
Do you agree with the Washington Redskins' decision to fine Jack Del Rio $100,000?
That was the decision that was made by Coach Rivera. Again, as I stated earlier, they are responsible for monitoring and managing their own workplace. He made that decision on his own. I did not speak to him. I have great respect for Coach Rivera. He made this decision for reasons I'm sure that he thought were important.
I appreciate all. I appreciate all that, Commissioner, but that's not what I asked you. I said, do you agree with the Washington?
Why the fuck would you ask him if he agrees? What is it?
What's
what does
that
it
matter?
matter if he agrees or not? What does it matter? You see, this is why we can't have civil discussions when it comes to politics, because this is what we call straw manning it. You are reaching for straws to argue a point that is irrelevant to the conversation at hand.
Exactly.
Jack Del Rio was fined.
Look over here.
2 weeks ago.
Look over here. Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, what do we give? Who gives a shit about this? He talks about freedom of speech. Well, what does the First Amendment say? Your freedom of speech will not be, you cannot be suppressed from saying what you want to say by the government, not by a private entity. They can tell you to shut your fucking mouth. Just like when people try to say that it was a First Amendment expression of free speech to take a knee during the national anthem. And what were people saying? Fire him. Fire him. This is the exact same thing.
No difference.
And he's getting fined. He ain't getting blackballed from the NFL like somebody else was.
And fined a pretty paltry amount.
You know what I mean? Come on, man. This is the hypocritical bullshit that just really gets on my nerves. It gets on my nerves. Because when the shoe was on the other foot, y'all were ready to burn this boy at the stake. Y'all ready to burn Colin Kaepernick at the stake. Ready and waiting. And now it's on the other foot, and you're talking about free speech. Shut your mouth. Jim Jordan, who said nothing at Ohio State when there were players who complained about being molested by coaches, and he knew about the guy, and he did nothing. Shut your mouth. How did you even get in Congress? Bum.
Redskins' decision to fine Jack Del Rio $100,000.
I don't think it's my position to be able to say whether it was the correct decision or not.
Well, Coach Rivera, in his statement when he fined his assistant coach $100,000, he said Del Rio, quote, does have the right to voice his opinion as a citizen of the United States, and it is most certainly his constitutional right to do so. I don't know if that's actually accurate anymore, because if you do voice that, you end up getting fined and have to write a check for $100,000. Does that concern you?
I, again, have great respect for Coach Rivera. I presume that he had reasons for doing what he did, and I'm sure he took a lot of factors into consideration there.
Last year at the start of the season, I'm looking at the New York Times article, a piece from September 5th, 2021. Last year, start of the NFL.
And this is a cat, and this, let me say this also. This is a cat who will, while he's sitting here using a New York Times article as his reference, if the New York Times says anything about him or his side of the political spectrum, he'll call it fake news. So why are you using him as reference here in an official congressional setting? This guy
Funny how that works,
this
isn't
guy
it?
is a caricature of everything that is wrong with this country. He is.
Looking at you, Ohio.
You made this statement. You said, "We, the National Football League, encourage all to speak out and peacefully protest." Did you really mean that when you said that, Mr. Goodell?
Yes, I think people are always responsible for what they say and what they do. But yes.
He basically said there, hey, you can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want to say. Don't mean that you ain't going to have to pay for it.
Right. There's always consequences.
I mean, so what is it that
you
want? You want to be able to say what you want, regardless of how idiotic or derogatory, detrimental to the team that it is, and not be fined or not have to face consequences for that. That's free speech? No, free speech is you can say it. Yeah. Being an adult means you also will be responsible for what you say.
Yeah, I can turn it right around and hand down the consequence.
And hand you a slip like, hey, yeah, hey, I'm glad you voiced your opinion, man. We know, hey, here's your fucking fine.
We know how you feel now. Here you go.
We know how you feel. We understand you. But, you see how all these reporters and all these people out there with signs are or not exercising their First Amendment right on our property while we're trying to practice, yeah, you caused that. So here, we got to pay for extra security. So we took it out of your check. Thank you. And that's how it works. You are free to say what you want. It don't mean you won't suffer the consequences. It's like if you walk up to me in my front yard and you call me the N-word, well, if I knock you out, I didn't violate your free speech.
Not at all.
I just made you pay for what
free
you
to say
said.
that.
There was a price for what you said, and you said it, and I reacted. Can't sue me for violating your free speech. You might could sue me for breaking your jaw, though.
Yeah, I think that's still an uphill battle if they're on your property.
And again, like, we don't like this guy. I don't like Roger Goodell, but come on, let's be realistic here. What are you really asking him? This is stupid. This is a waste of time that you're asking.
Insane line of questioning, waste of our money.
Said you encourage all.
Yeah, all the way.
All to speak.
But yes.
And when you said you encourage all to speak out, you meant all, not just some.
That's correct, Congressman, but you're responsible for what you say. There are consequences for what you do and say in life.
Yeah.
Boom.
So it seems to me, I mean, this is
Like
the
a child.
concern I have. It seems to me
It's
the
like,
NFL
it's like talking to a child.
encourages all to
this is what
speak
my mom
out
tells
unless
me.
you're Dave Portnoy and not allowed to a game, unless you're Jack Del Rio, you get fined. That is, I think, the concern not only I have, but a lot of your fans across this country have this standard. Does that concern you at all?
It always concerns me what our fans think and how they react, but we try to make sure that we're responsible in all our comments.
Yeah, let me just read the tweet from Mr. Del Rio. It said, would love to understand the whole story about why the summer of riots, looting, burning, and the destruction of personal property is never discussed, but January 6th is. What part of that statement, what part of that tweet warranted a $100,000 fine?
Again,
you should probably ask the head coach of the Washington Commanders.
Right. Like, I didn't find him. Shit.
It's like, yo, bro, did you think about this before you came out here? Before you came out here and with this list of questions you wrote down, did you think about why you asking him these questions? He don't know the answer to why this cat got fined. It's not like he's calling every team's head coach every day. He don't work for the head coaches. He works for the owners.
Works for the owners.
Oh man.
What a blowhard. Love to hear himself talk.
This is like hilarious. Oh, this is hilarious. I mean, look, this is just, again, like, this is why we can't even argue. We can't even have discussions in good faith with each other in America right now, because somebody wants to make a point for no reason. You want to make some kind of point for no reason. Nobody is even concerned about this non-story, because it was a non-story. It was a story, yes, but it's a non-story in the sense that the fine is not what people give a shit about.
Yeah, that's not what he's there to talk about.
Yeah, and he's not even here to talk about that. Like, you're not even, I mean, all right, let's keep going. We're almost through this.
Fine. I wasn't part of the decision-making process. Coach Rivera obviously had reasons which he believed were substantial to do that. And I have great respect for him.
Yeah, but I mean,
he's a member of
this whole hearing is about the NFL stepping in when something happened at the Washington football team's organization. And now we had something that happened in the
when something happened, when there were allegations of sexual harassment. I mean, the big one, the R word. I mean, these are words that are being thrown around. Like, yeah, I got to talk about that.
That's a little bit different than, what this guy's talking about.
A little bit different than, $100,000 fine to somebody who's probably making, as a defense coordinator, he's probably making a couple million.
Yeah, easily.
So,
Washington football team's organization. You say you had no part of that. You're not gonna comment on it. It's not.
He's called them everything but the Commanders in this video.
but it seems like it should when assistant coach issues a tweet that I think a lot of people would say, you know what, we Republicans condemned the violence that took place in the summer of 2020, and we condemned the violence that took place on January 6th. We've been consistent. I think that was the point the coach was making. He gets fined, and you have nothing to say about it.
Why should I?
I am not going to interfere with the workplace decisions that a club makes on a matter like that. That is not a something that rises to the occasion, such as the subject that we're talking about today, when you have a workplace that is obviously toxic and unacceptable and unprofessional.
And
no one supports.
And you know what, man? Like, come on, dude. This guy is literally, he's saying it in the most diplomatic way possible. He says, look, I don't fucking run the Washington football team. I'm gonna convert what he's saying into street lingo. So that everybody, you know, maybe it's going over some people's heads in the audience. I'm gonna give you a little bit of what the street lingo is. I don't run the fucking Washington Commanders. For one, I like the coach. He handles his business, and I'm not going to interfere with what they do because in the whole shitstorm that is this franchise, he is the one constant that at least has credibility. We're here today to talk about a lot of shit that is coming out of this organization because it's run unprofessionally by an unprofessional individual. Maybe you want to stay the fuck on topic. That's
yeah, maybe like, do I interrupt you while you're asking questions? Let me
and
answer
then
the
he's
fucking
interrupting
question.
him. Like, yes.
Fucking
Yes,
jackass.
this is crazy. It's crazy that this cat. I mean, this is like almost like you're trying to sabotage the entire hearing. With like, why? Because there are going to be people who are like, you know what, man, I'm turning this shit off. I mean, it's you know, this on Fox. Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Say less.
Okay, now it makes sense. It's on Fox. I thought it was C-SPAN that was showing this.
I tell you what's wrong with this, but you probably couldn't read it.
That, but we do support
unprofessional.
no one supports that, but we do support the First Amendment. And I understand this is a private organization, but the chilling impact.
You understand that it's a private organization.
You clearly don't.
So shut up. What are you talking about? You just ended your own argument with saying that you understand it's a private organization. So now you can stop with the First Amendment shit because it doesn't even apply. It's not even literally a right in their environment. It's not a right at all. Period. So shut the fuck up.
Have a nice day.
When speech is curtailed like this and you get fined for a tweet that you put out, I think that is a concern to all of us. That's why I raised it in the committee hearing today. Madam Chair, I yield back.
The gentleman.
And you know what? You know what else? That bum, he probably got up and left the whole hearing after that. Okay. So
you had to hit the back nine somewhere.
I see in the chat here, Becky's asking, is it possible for Roger Goodell to be fired? Yes, but not by anyone other than the owners. The owners are the only ones.
Vote by the owners?
Yeah, it has to be a 2/3 vote. Yep. Two-thirds vote from the owners, and they could liquidate him. But do you know how much money he's made them?
He's making them God money.
He's making them mother of God money. Like what? So they're never going to fire him. As a matter of fact, I mean, look, you see what's happening with John Gruden and his situation with his lawsuit against the NFL. He's going to get paid a lot of money because if you don't know anything about Roger Goodell, you should know his ego is the size of the Cowboys football stadium. I mean, it's the size of fucking Brooklyn Bridge. This cat was solely pissed off that John Gruden was talking shit about him. I mean, you know how this played out, JB. This cat was like, yo, get him out of here. I don't care. You find some slurs. You know he has slurs. Get him out of here.
Well, you gotta look.
Either you pay him what he's fucking owed and you get him out of here. I don't want to ever see him in this league again. And that's why he's gone. That's why John Gruden is gone. Because Roger Goodell made it that way. Because they know how Roger Goodell is the most valuable piece of the NFL's money machine. He's the one who set up these TV contracts.
Yep.
The NFL is the only league that didn't suffer during the pandemic with no fans.
Right.
Still we went down $3 billion. We went to $12 billion instead of 15 going up to $20 billion.
Yeah,
and what happened this year? It bumped right back up to $20 billion.
Yeah, there's a reason he's paid more than any player in the whole league.
Yeah, this dude makes $55 million a year. You've seen this motherfucker fall asleep during the draft in his basement, just with the fifth pick. This cat is good. He's comfy. He's super comfy. He is super comfortable in his security as the money man for the NFL. And look, Paul Tagliabue was the commissioner before him. Paul Tagliabue was he was a players commissioner. He was the guy that was the era when cats in the NFL used to do some reckless shit and you never hear about it. After one time on the news, you never hear about it again. You never hear about nothing. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget when I was a kid. You remember? I know you remember this, Justin, because we both from Dallas. Bruh. Remember when they had the new segment where they caught Michael Irvin at a crack house with some chick? They caught him at a crack house with some chick. Him and like a couple chicks at a crack house just getting zooted on crack all day long. I'm like, wow. I'm like, Michael Irvin. I mean, I wasn't even a Cowboys fan, but I was like, Michael Irvin, what is he doing out there? He was in South Dallas getting zooted.
Oh, that's one of those never meet your heroes moments.
Never meet your heroes. And you know what? I saw one new segment on that, and they didn't even talk about it in the NFL. They didn't even talk about it on NFL Sunday. They were just like, well, Michael Irvin's going through an issue right now, but they're looking to get him back in a week or two. Oh, he played on Monday night. He was back.
Oh, for sure.
And ain't nobody say nothing to him.
Probably did somebody in too.
You know what I mean? Hey, man, because it's crazy. Because you know when you used to see Michael Irvin score that touchdown, Michael Irvin starts spazzing out. He started doing all kinds of crazy karate kicks and all this shit. You'd be like, yo. I mean, I know he got the karate kick though. Where'd that come from? And then when they said they caught him at the crack house, I was like, that's where it come from.
Now it all makes sense.
That's where it comes from. He's hitting that. He gets a little that endorphin boost like he get when he hit the pipe, and he just start doing all kinds of everybody wants kung fu fight, all kinds of kung fu shit. I'm like, okay. That makes sense. Because
I get that.
as I would grow older and begin to actually see crackheads in real life, they would do the same shit. They would do a fucking 6-foot jump in the air, kick their legs straight up vertical, and you'd be like,
where have I seen this before? I've seen that move.
I've seen that before. That's the Michael Irvin kick. I'm like, so that was a different era of football. But with Goodell, with the way that, the media market has exploded, content creation from, all these different platforms, the NFL took it all over in sports. Nobody does it like the NFL does it. Nobody can do it like they do it. But there was a more serious video here that okay, there's a more serious video here that comes from this hearing. And when I say serious, I mean halfway to a clown show because America. But let's take a look here. Let's see, where is it? Okay. This is a video from this hearing as well, where there's, of course, an argument as to why are they doing this? Why are we wasting our time? You know, personally, I believe that when you have issues with an organization like this, like the NFL is having with the Washington Commanders, I do believe that there does need, you know, that Congress, because they give the NFL a lot of benefits, and for a very long time, I'm talking about up until about 5 years ago, for a very, very, very long time, the entire existence of the NFL, the league has operated as a nonprofit organization. That's laughable. The NFL, up until about 2015, was a nonprofit organization. Let that sink in. That means they didn't pay taxes. And what did the U.S. Congress get in return? About $50 million a year in donations. So this league has been allowed to flourish due to the, I mean, you know, call it corruption or call it the grace of the NFL or the grace of the U.S. government towards the NFL. I call it a little bit of both, because the league wouldn't have been able to necessarily grow the way it did if they didn't have the ability to kind of avoid some tax pitfalls, you know. But hey, fucking churches, they use this religion as an excuse, and they don't get to pay no taxes. So why not? NFL owns Sunday anyway.
That's a bigger religion in America.
For real. NFL is it could apply for religion, because there are people who worship their teams. You know that. You know somebody who worships their team.
Hey,
you know?
I'm a Cowboys fan. You ain't got to tell me.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I grew up a Niners fan, but I'm a Jaguars fan. I'm a Jags fan. I'm not, you know, I don't worship them. Yeah. But I'm a Jags fan.
I stopped short of worship, but I fuck with them.
I fucks with them. So let's you know, so when there's a level of seriousness in saying what I'm saying, I'm trying to get at this. There's a level of seriousness that the government has to have with the NFL when shit starts getting out of line, with things like workplace misconduct. And with the Redskins, with the Commanders, with Washington, it's been like this for a long time. Too long to just be like, you know, let them handle it. Now we want to know what's going on, because there might be some criminality that comes out of this. Also, from the standpoint that the owner of the team had apparently run a scam on the NFL itself. Yep. And he was shaving money from the NFL money. The NFL wasn't even getting their money. So now it's really a problem. It was a problem when you was messing with them chicks, Dan. But now it's a goddamn problem when you're taking off our fucking bottom line, buddy.
Hey, you know how they think too. Everything can be washed, you know, under the rug until it comes to that money.
Everything, and that's what he was doing. You know, somebody snitched. That's the only way. Somebody snitched, and they found out.
When you start fucking with the money, your time is running short.
Money, the NFL is going to be like, "Hey, come investigate us. Come investigate us. You can do it." So, let's take a look at this video here. Let's see how this thing devolves, because let me see. Okay, so I see some of you guys in the chat chopping it up about this. Okay. Okay, I see here. Okay, hold on. I'm moving a little quick for me. Warren Sapp. I see a Warren Sapp. What's going on? Okay, so we'll check on that Warren Sapp. We'll look at the Warren Sapp video on Gruden in a moment. After this, I see you. Us and them. I see you on that. Let's see. Gruden was, you know, doesn't really matter if Gruden is racist. What he said was hella problematic. Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, you would never know about that if they weren't already investigating. And it's like they were investigating Washington, but how did they because the guy who was the GM in
He
Washington,
was
the
back and
president of
forth with
Washington,
Bruce Allen, right?
yeah, Bruce
Yeah,
Allen
yeah.
was emailing with John Gruden, and they got those emails because they were just looking at Washington. So that's how they found out about John Gruden. And you know, once Goodell
Gruden
saw that
today-
John Gruden said he's a John Gruden said he's a little pussy, he's like, no, get him out of here, get him out of here.
But I was reading today that Snyder directed them towards that shit to shift the blame towards Bruce Allen.
He
So
said, I got to throw somebody under the fucking bus.
Yeah, so he was running like a shadow game to divert attention away from himself. Yeah, this thing is about to get real interesting.
Oh, so this is about to get really shady. So we may be at the cusp of something big happening here eventually, because
I think he was also trying to hide findings.
Now you
from
see
the
it's
first
a misdirect.
investigation.
It was a misdirect from Snyder.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
And then they found out about the money with the NFL. So if that was money with the NFL that he was stealing from their concessions and from their the stadium ticket sales, then you know that ladder now goes from coaching, management, league, money, IRS, U.S. government, and they gonna come get their bread. You know that. They don't lose. They gonna come get their bread.
You can pull the wool over the owner's eyes for a little bit.
Yeah, you can fool. I mean, hell, once the NFL found out about how he's taking money from and not, taking money from the teams by not reporting the money right, and he's keeping like extra. I think they said it was like $4 million. Something
He
like
wasn't he wasn't sharing the revenue from road games or something weird
from their home games, from their home games.
Yeah, with the road team,
because the concessions get shared.
Yeah,
everything gets shared from the stadium, and he was reporting like over the course of the year, he reported like 4 million or 5 million less than what was actually supposed to be reported, and the NFL found out. So now Goodell is like, nigga, what? Hey, come investigate, because we're gonna need our bread, homie. We're gonna need ours.
Yeah,
if we just caught you doing this now, you've been doing this shit for 10, 15 years already.
Yeah. Go ahead and run me 100 million.
You know what I mean? You go ahead and run it or sell your team. Now this is where things are going to get hairy too, is that how do they make him sell the team? Through a vote. But there's a danger here that I think a lot of NFL owners actually fear Dan Snyder because he likely has dirt on a few of them. One being Jerry Jones. I know he got dirt on Jerry. That's a 100%. Nemesis.
You know these motherfuckers out here partying and shit together.
You know what I mean?
Probably
you know he got dirt. He got private investigators just all over these owners watching them. I bet you he already knew about how Robert Kraft get down when he go to Florida. He probably already knew. he probably when that shit happened, he's like, damn, can't use that one. Throws it away.
He's probably on the table right. He's on the table right next to him.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, this shit is going to get crazy before we find a resolution. But let's get into this video. Let's check it out and see it's about 9 minutes. We'll break it down as we go. And then if we have time, we'll talk. We'll see what Warren Sapp said about John Gruden, and because I saw something about that, but I didn't decide to put it on the docket for today. So let's look at this.
Thank you for your testimony and for coming today. I now recognize myself for 5 minutes.
Madam Chair, I have a parliamentary inquiry.
Oh, God.
The gentleman
who the fuck interrupted? Who interrupted?
Madam Chair, the U.S. Supreme Court case, U.S. versus Watkins, makes clear that Congress's investigative power must be related to and in the furtherance of a legitimate task of Congress. Especially in light of the testimony by Mr. Goodell, how does continuing this hearing actually relate to a legitimate task of Congress in the face of record high inflation, record high gas prices?
Oh, brother, come on, you fucking... This motherfucker here. You know what I mean? Come on, why they got to put the brother out there to look like a goddamn fool?
Who put you up to this?
I mean, record inflation. Bitch, you ain't got to put no gas in your car. You ain't You got somebody driving you.
Oh, he clearly ain't walking. Big
You
ass.
ain't. You damn sure ain't walking. We can see that. We can see that.
Crisis, a completely unsecured border, a fentanyl crisis
Oh, damn it.
Completely insecure?
that is killing more people between the ages of 18 and 45 than any other cause in the United States, a baby formula crisis, a tampon crisis. Madam Chair, the commissioner has just detailed in his own testimony that the Washington Commanders, Redskins, whatever you choose to call them, have been held accountable. They've made necessary reforms to the organization. You got a chair here from Mr. Snyder who told the committee.
I mean, what is he doing? Defending these motherfuckers?
Clearly.
What is this?
Clearly. I don't know
What
what
the
this is.
fuck is this?
Who paid him?
I mean, you know, yeah, we supposed to be brothers.
Hey, he just got some Commander season ticket slipped under his door this
Somebody
morning.
just, you know what I mean? Somebody from Dan Snyder camp slid this cat a couple racks before he walked into the committee hearing today. What is he going on about? How long you been knowing that they was going to have this hearing? Why are you waiting till now to complain?
Yeah. Hey, next time Mr. Snyder takes the yacht out, you're on there, buddy. We got
You know what I mean? Yeah, hey, but best believe you're going to see pictures of him on the yacht. Snyder got you in his pocket now, too.
You're going to be getting the rub and tug,
The
too.
gentleman will suspend.
But Madam Chair,
The
what is the purpose
gentleman
of this?
will suspend.
What is the purpose of this
The
hearing?
gentleman will
Shut your
suspend.
ass up.
This is not about a stated parliamentary inquiry.
That is the parliamentary
And we
inquiry,
have-
Madam Chair.
The
What is the
gentleman will
purpose of it?
suspend.
You can bang the gavel all you want, but I don't really care. What is the purpose?
Wow.
Ooh. Okay.
The disrespect.
I mean,
Look, man, like, I'm a rebel too. You know what I mean? I'm a rebellious cat. But this, I mean, bro, you trying to end your career in the city?
right.
I mean, that lady's
this
been on the committee for like 70 years, bro.
Hey, this the hill you want to die on?
You know what I mean? She has clout. Nobody even knows who you are.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. I mean, I'm sorry. I would have been beside myself if I was sitting up there like,
Who let this motherfucker in here?
where's the Secret Service? Get this bitch out of here. Get him out. The fuck is he talking to? Who you think you're talking to?
He gonna turn up tonight, stab himself in the back, and throw himself off a bridge.
For real. You gonna it's gonna be a sad what's it called? What are the parts of the newspaper where they have people who
obituary.
died? It's gonna be a sad obituary page tomorrow morning in the Thursday evening newspaper when they have a picture of you from your college graduation sitting there all bright-eyed and I got the future ahead of me. Yeah, well, he decided to self-harm himself off a 20-foot or 20-level parking garage yesterday. He left a note leaving all of his estate's assets to his mistress, so his wife and his children will get nothing.
He also punched himself in the face 27 times.
He also broke his own ribs and knocked out his entire bottom row of teeth, including wisdoms. Yeah, it's a sad world, you know? Sad world. All right, next hearing.
mental illness.
Purpose of continuing this, Madam Chair, that is the parliamentary inquiry. And how does Congress's business actually be continued? How does Congress's business actually be continued by continuing this hearing?
Co-sponsor. Okay. All right. I now recognize myself for 5 minutes for questions.
all that interrupted, and they just wait till you shut the fuck up and kept going. All right. Oh, did he get held in contempt of Congress?
Oh no, I think they're saying, he held Congress in contempt.
He held Congress in contempt? Oh, no, he didn't. Clever trick. Clever. Didn't work.
I got a gavel too.
All right, I now recognize myself.
He
for
said, I got a
5
gavel
minutes for
too.
questions. The NFL's decision not to release the findings of an investigation into the toxic workplace culture at the Washington Commanders denied victims and the American people of a full accounting of what transpired at the team for the past 20 years.
Damn.
Today, the committee released new evidence documenting the toxic workplace at the Commanders, details that the NFL had not previously made public. We found that Dan Snyder refused to discipline coaching staff accused of sexual harassment. Instead, according to one executive, he tried to, quote, make the problem go away.
Oh, shit. So Dan Snyder out here really trying to have cats assassinated. Okay.
Right.
End quote. We found that Mr. Snyder approved the firing of a cheerleader for having a relationship with a male team member, but took no action against the male employee.
Hold on now.
And-
For what?
So a cheerleader was banging a player, and he fired the cheerleader.
She got fired, but that's a rule for them though. That's a rule. Like they're not supposed
they're
to.
not supposed to.
They're not supposed to even like I literally. Oh man.
I think they said don't fraternize with
Yeah,
players.
don't fraternize. Tell you what though, there was these twins in Jacksonville. Woo! I went out one night. I caught one of them drunk, and we're just sitting there hanging out. And I'm like, I didn't really know. I think this is my rookie year. Hey, this is my rookie year. And I'm like, I didn't care about that rule. I was like, hey, yeah, it's all good. Nobody cares that we're here kicking it.
Yeah, it doesn't mean shit.
Then
to
her
me.
sister came over and was like, we got to get the fuck out of here. Completely salted my game. Dragged her out. And I would find out later on in the season that they actually had people go out. They have like snitches that they set up to go out with the girls when they go out. And these girls, these are just other like alternate cheerleaders, yada, yada, yada. They tell them if you see any players around these girls and if you see them leave with a player or,
you can get their spot.
Boom, and that's it. And that's it. So I was like, damn, so they really, I was saying, that's kind of cutthroat. Damn. They said, we know y'all ain't going to listen to that rule. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to set up a little system where you get snitched on. And when you find your locker empty one morning, don't be surprised. You know exactly why you're gone. Which was, that was news to me when I heard that that's how they were doing things. I was like, shh. All right, well, I can respect it then. I mean, hey, I ain't trying to get you fired.
Right.
But that is a rule.
We found that Mr. Snyder orchestrated a shadow investigation, sending private investigators to the homes of former employees, terrifying them, offering hush money, and compiling a dossier on his accusers. Commissioner Goodell, do you think this is acceptable?
That's criminal, isn't it? Isn't it actually kind of criminal?
To intimidate. Yeah, probably.
Intimidation, like intimidation, invasion of privacy.
Maybe like obstruction of justice, maybe. I don't know.
They're accusers, right? They're accusers. Obstruction of justice. If there's going to be if the police are involved, if there's like possible litigation, like I don't know. Is that, do you guys know in the chat if that's something that could be considered criminal, what he was doing?
Well, behavior for the owner of an NFL team, Mr. Goodell.
Yeah, I would say that
Maloney,
building a dossier on
that is
your
exactly
accusers
why
is
we
probably
took
smart.
this issue so seriously. It's exactly why we engaged an independent investigation with Beth Wilkinson and her firm. She had full access to be able to engage with anyone who chose to
Reclaiming
come
my
forward.
time, I have very limited time.
She says, "Shut up, shut up! Don't do that. Shut up."
Thank you for appearing and for your testimony. We don't,
You're watching live now from Fox, everybody. We will be taking a
what the
quick
hell?
2-minute break here for some of you, and we'll continue.
the full,
Commissioner.
will you commit today to providing this committee the full findings of the NFL's internal investigation while protecting the identities of the confidential witnesses? Mr. Goodell.
We gave a summary report, Madam Chairwoman. The report was broad in its nature, but specific to the fact that the culture at the Washington football team for too long was toxic and incorrect. We made a commitment to protect their identities. We are going to continue to do that and make sure that we protect that
Commissioner,
for not only
reclaiming-
this investigation,
Commissioner-
but also.
Respectfully, Mr. Commissioner, reclaiming my time because we have limited time. You have claimed you are withholding this information because you are protecting the privacy of witnesses. But many victims, even in this room, and witnesses have publicly stated that they want this information to be released. And the NFL has made other investigations public, and I thank you for that, including the 2014 investigation into the workplace misconduct at the Miami Dolphins. Respectfully, Mr. Commissioner, for full accountability, we must have transparency. Mr. Snyder, of course, has refused to testify today. We thank you for making the Dolphins report public. We'd like to have the Wilkinson's report made public. And I'm asking you, what specific steps will the NFL take to hold Mr. Snyder accountable for refusing to testify before Congress?
I mean, do you have to do that?
Madam Chairwoman, I do not have any responsibility for whether he appears before Congress. That is not my.
Yeah, without the
But, you know,
subpoena, that's
yeah, like
voluntary.
he can't make Dan Snyder do shit. That's what they don't. I guess they don't get that. Like he cannot make Dan Snyder do nothing. Nothing.
like, you know how hard it is to make billionaires do shit.
You know what I mean? Like he really can't make this cat do nothing because he works for him. He can't tell him what to do. And, you know, of course, the NFL, he is the commissioner of the NFL. Well, the NFL is one entity. There are 32 separate entities that are members in the NFL through membership, through membership, not as they're not parts of the NFL. They're not a part of the singular NFL entity. That is an entity by itself. The Shield, that's by itself. And then there's every other team, LLC, that is agreed to be in a partnership with the NFL. So it's not, you know, it is a symbiotic relationship between the teams and the actual rule maker, which is the NFL. That's the rule maker. The teams are the clubs. Obviously, they're different and they're separate. But those owners who own the team are the ones who pick the commissioners, and they pay the commissioner, and they designate handsomely. They pay him a fortune. On every level, they pay him a fortune, and he kicks it with them on Christmas. I mean, Robert Kraft is his boy. That's his boy, but he couldn't even tell him what to do if you wanted to. It's the moment you cross that line and try and be that, you know, we're homies, we're partners, but the moment you try to tell me what to do, and when it's a bad situation for me, now you're my fucking employee and you need to shut your goddamn mouth. That's what happens there. You know what I mean? They'll get his ass up out of there in a heartbeat.
Oh, 100%. He ain't fucking that money up.
Yeah, you ain't nothing stops the money. You understand? Not even COVID.
My choice. That
Okay,
is his
let
choice.
me stop you right here. Mr. Snyder has not been held accountable. His refusal to testify sends a clear message that he is more concerned about protecting himself than coming clean with the American people. If the
I think most
NFL
people
is
would fall in that
unwilling
category.
or unable to hold Mr. Snyder,
Yeah, no, I agree. I think most people probably would do the same thing. Like, hey, if I ain't gotta go, I ain't going.
But you want me to sit up here and just say Fifth Amendment 50 times?
Because that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna say I plead my fifth. I plead the fifth. Fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth.
Yeah. When I show up, that's what's gonna happen. So I'm doing everybody a favor.
So get ready for me.
they're accountable, then I am prepared to do so. That is why I am announcing now my intent to issue a subpoena for the testimony of Mr. Snyder for a deposition next week. The committee will not be deterred in its investigation to uncover the truth of workplace misconduct at the Washington Commanders. Finally, I'd like to talk about how we're going to fix this problem, not just expose it, but fix it. Last week, along with many of my colleagues, we introduced 2 bills to ensure that employers like Dan Snyder cannot abuse non-disclosure agreements to silence employees and cannot film their employees and use the films without their consent. Commissioner, do you support the intent of these legislative reforms?
Yes, Madam Chairwoman, we've had an opportunity to be able to see your outline of this legislation or both these legislation and concept. We certainly support it and we're happy to work with your staff. While I have the microphone, I'd also like to say respectfully that Dan Snyder has been held accountable. As I mentioned in the opening, he faced unprecedented discipline, including financial fines, being removed and away from the team at his request for a period of time, up to the year now already. And secondly, and more importantly, a transformation of that organization that has gone on in the last year, which is really important to the employees that are there now. And I hope because
Roger Goodell does an excellent job of just talking. And he is not really talking about shit. He ain't talking about nothing. Yeah, we got him away from the team at his request.
His request.
Motherfucker
Like,
was there when fucking Sean Taylor's when they botched Sean Taylor's memorial. He was there. Well, what is he talking about? Roger Goodell is a bullshitter when it comes to answering truthfully about anything. He will lie to your face with the most casual look ever.
Talking loud and saying nothing. Talking
loud and saying absolutely nothing. Damn right. Come on. You said it. You just said it right here. You think you think they're going to pass a law? These motherfuckers ain't going to pass a law. Law's not going to get passed in the U.S. government for another 8 years, cuz. Dude. These cats don't like to pass laws. They like to just argue about how every law is going to destroy America. It's like, bruh.
So the individuals that came forward in the context of this investigation, they helped us make those changes. And we accepted every one of the workplace recommendations by Beth Wilkinson. And we think that it's had a dramatic impact, as you've seen from the independent and audit that was done just before your hearing back in February that indicated a substantial transformation of the organization, which was our ultimate objective.
Thank you very much for your...
All right, that's enough of that. We heard the best part of that was the brother who just decided out of nowhere, this guy sitting like 10 rows up, out of nowhere, just sitting by himself. Like, what is your role here, sir? I'm just I'm the male guy.
Thomas Jefferson, the name you know. I just snuck in.
I just came in here.
I was, back in the bathroom, heard you guys talking shit. So,
all right, let's take a look at this Warren Sapp, John Gruden situation. Okay, here is this. Okay, is this it? Which one is it? Vlad TV. Now I must say this before. Okay, so this is a multi-part, and I'm not going into that. But we're gonna look at one of these Clash of Sports maybe. But let me just say this before we get into this Warren Sapp clip. Fuck Warren Sapp. All right, let's do it. Oh, do you know why I hate this motherfucker?
No.
You don't know why I hate Warren Sapp?
Do you hate him more than Taylor Lewan?
Ooh, nah, I don't hate him more than Taylor Lewan. I hate him because it does confirm that very strong notion that you should never meet your heroes. And he was my hero growing up because I was a Tampa Bay fan and a Niners fan growing up. His jersey was the first authentic NFL jersey I ever had. And when I started doing Lineman Life, almost 2 years ago, when it was just Lineman Life podcast, I've been having a number of former players on. Nick Hardwick, Takeo Spikes, just a number of different guys coming on. Melvin Bullitt, fucking Geno Hayes. All these cats. And Maurice Jones-Drew, all these cats. And then Takeo linked me up with Warren Sapp. Linked me up with him, hit him up, like, hey man, you don't even understand. You're a hero of mine. I was defensive end when I started off in high school and in college. I wanted to play like you. Now, with all that being said, I would love to have you come on my podcast, just talk about your career, tell me about that Super Bowl in 2002. I got everything. I was there. I was watching it. My freshman year in college, I was watching the game. I had the jersey on. He said, I don't do linemen. And I'm like, huh? What? I said, oh, he's just joking. Huh? Well, what you mean? He said, no. He said, no, I don't do O linemen. And I'm like, whoa, what? He's like, don't worry, you'll be okay. This ain't gonna be the first time you get told no. You'll be fine. And I'm like, whoa. Excuse me, my guy. So you just like, nah, I'm not coming on your fucking show.
What?
I'm like, and he's like, yeah, I'm not coming on your show. Stop asking me. He said, stop asking. I'm like, bitch, ask one time.
Dog, this is too much.
Swear to God, that moment, I hit Takeo up after that. I said, hey, man, what the fuck is up with this guy? I said, what is wrong with this dude? Is this something? What? He really don't cheat tripping because I'm an offensive lineman? And Takeo just had this, I just heard him sigh. He went, damn. He said, man, that's just how Warren is, bruh. I'm like, oh, so he was all chummy and buddy with you because you a linebacker and I'm an old lineman? And he's like, I'm not fucking with you. I'm like, and he's like, hey, man, that's how he is, bro. I don't know what to tell you, Uche, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm like, oh, okay. Fuck him. And tell him I said it.
If you want to be down with Warren Sapp, then fuck you too.
Yeah. Fuck Warren Sapp as a player, as a Buccaneer, and as a Hall of Famer too. And if you want to be down with Warren Sapp, then fuck you too. So that's my disclaimer before we get into this video, because I'm gonna have a lot of shit to say about this motherfucker, because I don't give a shit about him no more. Let's get into it. This is gonna be quick. Okay, wait. Okay. Here we go.
Okay, so we haven't heard too much about John Gruden lately, as he's filed a lawsuit against the NFL, But recently, the former Raiders coach got a pretty big win, if you want to call it, in that the Clark County judge denied the NFL's motion to dismiss the lawsuit for private arbitration, meaning the lawsuit is going to court, and Gruden has a very compelling case here.
He's like, yep, got him.
So late
Wait,
last
so can
year,
you pause it real quick?
2021, the New York Times.
Yeah.
So they're going to let his case go to court, and I saw that today. They also, this is unrelated. They are trying to block Brian Flores' case from going to court. So I'm curious if that'll have any bearing on his case.
Yeah, because Brian Flores is suing too, right?
They want to go to
They had some more people join up on that.
Yeah, I think there's two others. I think it was Steve Wilkes and
there's a pretty well-known coach that I think joined on it.
But anyhow, they're trying to push him to arbitration, which would not be public. So
no, don't let that go to no arbitration. Look, if you can get the NFL into court because you have a legitimate grievance, take them to court because then
I'm just hoping.
Hammer them.
Once I saw this, now I'm like, I'm hoping that they'll let his shit go to court and we'll see some, discovery and some actual.
Because once they get that discovery, everybody's evidence got to come out.
Yeah.
And that shit gonna be embarrassing for somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because I want to see the text messages between Roger Goodell and what's his name, the owner of the Raiders,
Mark Davis.
Mark Davis.
Sorry to go off on a tangent there, but that just made me think of that.
Mm-hmm.
And Washington Post released an expose on a league investigation into the Washington Commanders' workplace misconduct and uncovered emails Gruden sent to then Washington GM Bruce Allen that was full.
Damn. Clueless anti-football pussy. Damn. I'd want him out my league too. Fuck him.
Hell yeah.
Get him out of here.
It was like Varsity Blues. Like, your daddy was a no-talent pussy. But at least he was. You can't go around talking to people like that.
You really can't.
Full of slurs directed at NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell and a few others. These emails were from 2011 when Gruden was working for.
Hey, man, I'll tell you what, though. As dysfunctional as they were, I would love to have played for the Raiders. Them uniforms, man, you can't beat them uniforms. Them uniforms are cold.
ESPN, and when the world as we know it was way different. And I'm not making excuses for the coach, but shit was different back then. And if you're old enough, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, ignoring what John Gruden said, he still has rights as a citizen, no matter how unpopular that thought may be. But TV talking about some of the allegations against his former coach and his ongoing lawsuit with the league.
Emails were sent where he used racist, misogynistic, and homophobic slurs.
Wait. Where's the racist term?
CTE. Fuck him. CTE. Look at him. No, I'm just playing.
Racist term. Okay.
Hold on.
Gruden used a racist stereotype to describe NFLPA Executive Director DeMaurice Smith, saying DeMaurice Smith has lips the size of Michelin tires.
God damn. Oh. Jesus Christ.
If he said, when I walk in my locker room, it looks like I got a bunch of DeMaurice Smiths in there by the mouth, that would be a racial trope. But to say DeMaurice Smith got big lips, yeah, DeMaurice Smith got big lips, just like Barack Obama got big ears. We've been calling Big Lip Johnny for the last 40 years. I bet this is the first time in DeMaurice Smith's life somebody called him big lips, he said it was racist.
Well, he also called Roger Goodell a faggot.
That's not racist.
And football pussy.
That's not racist.
It's homophobic.
I asked a question.
Wow! Come on, Warren. What are you talking about? Look. Hey, man, I don't give a fuck what nobody say. And you know this shit too. Look. And I don't mean this to disrespect anybody. But you know this, I know this, and everybody in this chat knows this. If, let's say you're a black kid like myself, and you got some full lips. If a black person comes up to me and say, you got your lips the size of Michelin tires, I'm probably going to laugh.
Yeah.
But I swear to God, if a white person says that to me, there's a good chance I will be offended, because you're not in my culture to know, to be able to joke about that off the rip, unless we're boys like that.
Yeah, we got to know each other a little bit.
Unless we're friends like that, and I won't trip if you say that. But if I don't know you,
yeah. But guess
or
what?
I'm not
You
friends
finna have
with you, and you say that to me,
you about to have
my
big lips
face,
too. You about to have big lips too, because I'm gonna knock your ass
you
out.
your lips finna be double my size. Promise you, before we done with this. You know what I mean?
That is too funny.
But look at this cat. You know what? And this is the thing, man. Look, I get where I understand what Warren Sapp is doing here, because that was a coach that got him a Super Bowl. I get it. You don't want to have to face the facts that your coach may be. I mean, I'm not saying that I believe John Gruden is a racist, but he said some racist shit. These two things can be true. You cannot be racist, but still say some racist shit. And you know what you're saying is a dig at the person because of their race. You know that. He didn't say that DeMaurice got Michelin. His type. He didn't say that DeMaurice Smith got lips the size of a Michelin tires because he don't like them. He said that because he's correlating that insult
a
with
long-standing
the racial
stereotype
trope
of black people.
Of black people with big lips. Because Roger Goodell, not Roger, John Gruden would never be on the football field and say that. He would never say that on a football field. Ever. He wouldn't say it.
Mike would get his ass kicked.
Because he would probably get his ass whooped. And Warren Sapp might be the one to whoop his ass if he was playing back. If it was during the time when he was in Tampa Bay, it would be Warren Sapp who would have went after his ass. Guaranteed. So I get that Warren Sapp is trying to defend that image that he has of John Gruden in his head, because I did the same thing to a certain extent with Jack Del Rio. I kind of didn't want to push too hard about what it was that he was saying, because not only did I think that,
because you know a certain guy,
I know a different guy. And
what I said in the face that you've seen from him.
Exactly. So that ain't the person that I know.
Yeah, I presume that's not the John Gruden that
that he knows.
Leader.
And
which is hard. Shit.
True enough. I cut a little bit of slack for Jack Del Rio. I did. And I said it during the stream that I have a little bias here. But after that stream, I went and I looked at his Twitter. And I went through his Twitter account. And I was like, shit. How do I defend this? So, and again, that doesn't change the love that I got for him from the coach that I know. But I cannot, in good faith, or say that seeing what I see on his Twitter, I can't say that I would, that I agree with nearly anything on his Twitter.
Sure.
Because he had he had some wild shit on there.
Yeah,
and I was
some pretty missing stuff. I think that's the beauty of what we have going on. The fraternity we have, that you don't have to agree with every single thing that everybody says. You can still have respect for them. You can still sit and be civil.
Boom. That's the difference between our world and the real world. Because in the football world, you can see those things and you can look past it and you can compartmentalize it and put it to the side and be like, I don't care about that part. But I respect you and I got love for you in all of this. And we won't mess with that.
I don't agree with this at all. But
I don't agree with none of this shit over here. So don't mention this shit to me no more. Because if we don't have a discussion about that.
We got to win these games and get this money.
You know what I mean? We're fucking brothers. We teammates. You just know that don't bring none of this shit up around me. Because I will have to argue a different opinion. And you know that.
Don't say this fuck shit when I'm around.
For real. So I get what he's doing here, but come on, you gotta stop a little bit there, Warren.
So what's the racist statement? The rest of that is way out of line across the board. But you're not gonna call my head coach a racist. I sat in front of him for 2 years, and I'm a child of the South. I was raised in Florida. There's no way a fire-breathing racist would be in front of me or on my speed dial, and we haven't had a real discussion about your tendencies to not see the black man on your level. There's no way John Gruden's that. I'll bet my life on it. That's the first time DeMaurice Smith said somebody called him big lips and it was racist.
Okay, so you feel the whole thing is overblown?
No, just not racist. Just don't put that tag on it. Come on. But we all know people that talk like that. He was talking to 2 billionaires and a dude more privileged than the 2 billionaires in Bruce Allen. That's George Allen's son. Hip, hip, hooray. So, you notice like I do, Vlad, when you have gathered 650,000 emails and only 6 of them get released, the first thing your lawyer asks for is discovery. Once I ask for discovery, it's over at that point. I mean, you remember Robert Griffin Jr. said that he was coming out with I got sexually harassed book, and all of a sudden the book went away and he was on every major college football game and every damn preview show we can find Robert Griffin.
Damn, I didn't know this happened.
That would be his dad, but you know.
Hold
He
on,
said
no.
junior, not the third. I didn't know about this.
RG3 was harassed in Washington? Surviving Washington will not be published? You know, somebody dropped a bag to keep that from coming out. Wow. That's something I'm going to have to look into for next week. Because what the hell?
I was not aware of that.
This was March 2022. This wasn't even in the headlines nowhere. Whatever, other than what this is. Holy shit. It's the first time I've heard this at all. First time I've ever heard this.
And Junior was everywhere. I'm like, what the fuck? He knows how to tell us about a quarterback. He couldn't play it, let alone sit up in a box for 3 hours.
Oh, you hate?
Well, I mean,
you hate last motherfucker, you.
Well, Robert Griffin Jr. was not a quarterback. Robert Griffin III was a quarterback. But
hold on, let me hear this. Let me hear this full breath statement.
I don't think you have to be a Hall of Fame player to be able to analyze and critique play. I mean, look at Dan Orlovsky. He was a career backup. He's a fair analyst, I think.
Yeah.
So the idea that you have to be an all-star player to
you don't have to be an all-star nothing.
Guys.
You just have to know what you're talking about. That's it.
Yeah. I could be a casual fan.
That he was coming out with I got sexually harassed book. And I'll remember once I asked for discovery, it's over at that point. I mean, you remember Robert Griffin Jr. said that he was coming out with I got sexually harassed book, and all of a sudden the book went away and he was on every major college football game and every damn preview show we can find. Robert Griffin Jr. was everywhere. I'm like, what the fuck? He knows how to tell us about a quarterback. He couldn't play it, let alone sit up in a box for 3 hours and listen to his ass. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think is ultimately going to happen in this case? Do you think they're just going to settle with him?
Oh, they're going to
go to court?
They're absolutely going to roll over. They have to. This is the worst thing they could possibly imagine. Can you imagine what those emails say? Because we only saw what Gruden sent. Where the chain of replies? Because if I'm sitting here cussing you out, Vlad, and I'm on the phone with that brother over there and we cussing you out, Somebody eventually gonna say something back, right? Come on. Where's the change? Where's the replies? Where's the back and forth? We just saw 6 emails.
Yeah.
And then they tried to break down Adam Schefter. That's nice.
What? Oh yeah. Oh, Adam Schefter. Yo. I mean, look. Warren Tapp is hating on Robert Griffin III, but he's making some valid points about this case in a whole. The John Gruden stuff, like I said, we already discussed. You can say something that's racist. Doesn't mean you're racist, but if you say something racist, that it gets treated. You're gonna find the flame for that. Now, if you keep doing it, then you're racist. Now, if come on. We can all kind of separate in our minds where people we know where they fall in those categories. There's some people who can say things that are like, okay, that's pushing it, but it doesn't mean that they're necessarily, wholehearted racist person. They just a little bit rough around the edges sometimes.
And their actions are, do not.
Their actions don't correlate with that they're saying. But but it's weird because on the other side of this, the Washington franchise, them motherfuckers had a lot of power for being such a sorry-ass franchise. Schefter, we talked about this. Schefter fucking running stories by Bruce Allen before he put him out to ESPN. So you're actually a puppet spokesperson for the organization.
Yeah, but I don't think that's uncommon, though, in that world, though. Because you need.
It's not uncommon to get quotes, but you don't ask them to proofread your article.
I'm not sure about that, man. I'm not saying that they have editorial. Well, maybe
that's what he gave them. Editorial control.
Yeah, maybe.
When
maybe
you
that's
work
the cost.
For ESPN.
Maybe that's the cost of getting those stories first every time.
Yes, that's true too. That is true too, because we often wonder why is Schefter always the one breaking the news.
It's not a good look.
But it's not a good look when we actually see the evidence that you actually sucking this motherfucker's dick to get that story off. Real talk.
I wasn't gonna go there, but that's always a thought.
That's all. What you think? That's the next step from there. That's the next step. Next step up. Hey. Got something in your mouth. Now you're writing a book.
Let's try.
I vividly recall the news of RG3 right after the Times and Post dropped their story that he said he was going to release a tell-all book about what really happened in Washington. And yeah, Sap is kind of right. All of a sudden, we then begin to see RG3 everywhere on ESPN College Game Day, and it really makes you wonder. Warren is also on the money about the fact that how many heads would roll via the email thread with Gruden. If John was using homophobic or misogynistic words with Bruce Allen and others, he obviously was very comfortable using those words because those recipients probably use those very same words themselves and have their names associated with those words in some of those other 600,000 emails. So
look, and that's, I think we're good on that there. That's the extent of the SAP part. But this is the thing, this is true. The NFL kind of fumbled and fudged this up too. Because at the end of the day, you don't investigate yourself and there's nothing that you find except for 6 emails. But you got 650,000 emails. Only 6 of them have problems. And it's with somebody who don't even work for the fucking organization. Excuse me. That's not an investigation.
They probably took the meme.
It's like you see the meme where the fucking Obama's giving himself the Medal of Honor over. It's like, yeah, we did an investigation. We found nothing. We found no wrongdoing from ourselves. But we did get this award to ourselves. This new award.
Well, they're gonna find the most tame, passable emails that they can find. Like, okay,
this is the most tame shit we got.
It's like, okay,
Roger,
something is wrong.
This is it.
Like, all right, something is wrong, but not that bad.
You know what I mean? It's like, all right, look.
We
You
looked,
said
and this is
get
what we came up
tame
with.
emails. Jesus, we went through all of them. These were the only ones that were tame. The rest were fucking disgusting.
This is all we can show. There might be children watching.
This isn't even Washington. This is Gruden, and this is Monday Night Football Gruden. This isn't even like Vegas Raiders Gruden. They're like, look, this is all we can find. All right, let's get him out of Vegas. He did call you an anti-football pussy, though. I want his fucking head. Get him out. So, I honestly, I'm actually much more interested in this story now than I was before we did this, because there is something being hidden. There was something big being hidden by the NFL, which I'm not surprised at, because they tend to do this once every 10 years. They have something that they've been hiding that is damning as hell for a lot of people. I mean, 650,000 emails. I remember when we first talked about this, there was talk that this just did not just include football people, that this also included heads of corporations, national corporations, who were in these emails. And those are the emails that cannot be released. The ones where you have like maybe the head of Walmart, the Walton family, that just bought the Denver Broncos. There may have been some emails between them that maybe there was some insider info about the Broncos, or maybe even buying the Commanders. But also there could just have easily been stories about hookers for Mr. Walton himself. We don't know. We don't know.
Hey,
but we will keep.
I guarantee you there's fire in there.
Oh, there's fire. And I tell you what, folks, we are going to be keeping an eye on this shit. And over the weekend, I'm going to actually look into this RG3 thing, because wow.
Yeah, that's major.
That's major. And then all of a sudden, he's all over the networks as a commentator, when this bum he got the personality of a fucking saltine cracker. Like, this motherfucker ain't got no goddamn enthusiasm. He ain't got no charisma. He has none at all. What is he doing on all these shows? How did he get these jobs? Now we know. So that is going to be it for us here tonight on Lineman Life Live. We do appreciate y'all for being in here. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't already done so, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share this live stream with your friends. Let them see how we get down here on Mondays and Wednesdays. I am your observant lineman. This is my guest, my co-host, Justin Blaylock. He's on the move. Had a little technical issues earlier, but we are good as gravy now. And we will catch you guys. We will catch you guys on the next live stream. Look out for it. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you get notified when we put up the reminder. But we appreciate you guys once again, and we'll see y'all all on the next one. Peace.
Peace.